Hey everyone, thanks so much for clicking on this video. Hey, I want to share with you what I've been up to or what I was doing last week. And there is a reason for it. I'm going to show you some pictures here in just a minute, but there is a reason for it, actually two reasons. And I'm going to share that with you at the end. But first of all, I just wanted to share what I was up to, what I was doing. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to start some pictures here. Let me go ahead and do that now. And so I took a trip over to Philadelphia for a conference, and United, and so we're there. I took a couple of pictures. As I was getting ready to take off, I figured, you know what? There's some things that I can talk about preparedness here, and so that's a picture of me trying to be comfortable, about to get on the plane at Bush Intercontinental Airport. You have to take a picture of the clouds and all that good stuff. I wish I would have got one coming back into Houston because we were coming into a thunderstorm, and so there were some cool looking clouds, but I wasn't right up against the window, so I didn't take any pictures there. So all right, so this is a picture. This is our first night at the Reading Terminal Market, and so if you are from Philadelphia or Pennsylvania, you're familiar with it. This is across from the conference center, and this is like a big warehouse of all different kinds of little stores, and some of them are stores that you can buy, knickknacks and whatever, but most of them are food, and it is incredible the amount of food and different types of food that are there. It's like a cafeteria on steroids, and you just go to your specific place and whatever kind of food you want to eat. So this one here was the highest rated for Philly cheesesteaks. And I never had an official one, so I decided to go ahead and eat one. Now, they had a picture. This is where President Obama ate, and I'm not a big fan of Obama, but, I just figure they had that picture up there. And so if he was going to eat one there, I guess that's probably the better one. So anyway, it was highly rated, decided to eat it. And I got to tell you, I'm not a big fan of Philly cheesesteaks. I tried to do one that was very original. I was talking with a guy. I'm like, hey, I want one that's like, I'm here in Philadelphia. I want a Philadelphia cheesesteak. And so anyway, I'm not a big fan. I just felt like it was too much. I felt bloated after eating it. Well, that's TMI. But anyway, it was all right, but not something that I wanted to go back to. And we had opportunities to eat Philly cheesesteaks all week long with different people just offering them to us and all that kind of stuff. But just chose not to. But anyway, I guess if you're going to go to the terminal market, you need to go and stop here at this place. It was pretty interesting. Anyway, as I got to the hotel, actually, when I was on the airplane, I was kind of running through my head all the things that I had with me, and I realized I did not pack my brush. So luckily, I have had to purchase things at hotel lobbies before because there just wasn't a close place around, a store that was convenient. It's always very expensive. Luckily, on the way to the convention center, when we were registering and checking in, there was a Walgreens, a drugstore. I was able to stop in there and buy some brushes there. So anyway, there's always that. Even though I tried to be smart and create my list, I still forgot something that I needed to pack. All right, so one of the vendors took us to Circus Soleil. You weren't supposed to take pictures there, but anyway, that's a picture. I don't know if you can see that very clearly. It's Circus Soleil on ice, very acrobatic, crazy, crazy. That's one of the pictures up close, starting out there. But it was pretty phenomenal. If you get a chance to do Circus Soleil, whether it's on ice or whether it's the other stuff that they do, I would highly recommend it. And so I had to take this picture. I'm just going to show it to you. My son's like, whenever I go anywhere, he's like, Dad, get me a basketball hat or a jersey or whatever. And I'm like, I'm not spending that much money on a jersey there. So anyway, I found this 76ers placard there in the hall where we were watching Circus Soleil, and I snapped a picture and I sent it to him. I'm like, this is all the 76ers you're getting here. All right, but there was something cool I'll share with you in just a minute. Got to ride the trolley back to the convention center and back to our hotel. And so that was kind of cool just to be able to see Philly and all that kind of stuff. This is a picture of City Hall and a lot of great architecture. We have some old buildings in Houston, but definitely Houston is not as old as Philly. And so it was kind of cool to see some of the architecture there. around the convention center in downtown and all over the place. This is me bugging out here. This is across from the city hall. There is a big, humongous Masonic temple, and so somebody that was with us was a Mason, and I gave him hell all week long. But anyway, so we always had to pass this, and at one point I decided to take a picture here. I'm like, yeah, there you go. So anyway, this is a picture. I believe this was the Logan Hotel. We were up on top of the rooftop, and the weather was great as far as coming from Houston. I mean, we're experiencing way upper 90s into the hundreds, and the humidity is nasty. But it just felt a lot drier here in Philadelphia, and so we were up on the rooftop. It was nice and breezy, and it was just a really great time. I don't know if you can see my cursor here, but that is on. If you go down this street right here, North by Northwest, and that street, if you can't see my cursor, at the very end, that's where the Rocky statue is. And so we tried to get over there to, just to look at it, maybe take a picture, but we never got around to doing that. It's not on the top of the steps anymore, from what we heard. It's down at the bottom. So anyway, it was funny to kind of see people on Twitter. They were tweeting out their different videos of running up the stairs and stuff like that. All right, so this is a closer picture here, and so if you can see that right here, that is the Rocky statue. I believe I didn't go there, but anyway, there it is right there. I tried to zoom in with this just with my phone. All right, so one of the things that happened that has never ever happened to me before was in the middle of the night we had a fire alarm. And so there was a fire, and it was crazy. So I'm in a dead sleep, and all of a sudden I hear this alarm going off, and I hear someone talking. And so I'm waking up kind of like, what in the world is going on? At first I thought it was my phone. I grabbed for my phone, and then when I realized, I'm like, no, that is a fire alarm. So I'm getting dressed. I get dressed. I grab some of my things that I wanted to have with me for sure, and we start heading down. So the people that were with us, except for my supervisor, she was on the 7th floor. We were all on the same floor, and we were, they knocked on each other's door to make sure everybody was out. And when we went out, and we were in the front. So this is the front of the Westin Hotel. So let me go ahead and do this. And so here we are. If you can see those lit up, if you see my cursor here in the middle, you see those rooms that are lit up. Those were flashing. And they were flashing up to about the 6th floor, which I thought was interesting. So I called my supervisor when we got down there. I'm like, hey, are you coming down, or what are you doing? And she said that I guess the alarm that she was hearing and the voice that was coming over the speaker system where she was at was telling her not to leave, not to go down the stairs, not to go down the elevator. Now, we were on the 4th floor. Ours was telling us to exit and to go down the fire exit, right? And so two different things were being said there. So I guess maybe the fire, or where they thought the fire was in between the 4th and the 7th floor. Now she decided to go ahead and come down anyway, because I'm like, why do you want to be in a building where there's a potential fire? Now, there wasn't really a fire. At least there wasn't a fire with flames. It was more of a plastic burn and electrical burn. And what's funny is, of course, the hotel told us someone was smoking, and I'm like, nope, that's a plain lie, because that it was not a smoke smell. You could smell that plastic was burning, or some kind of an electric burn. But anyway, that was an experience I never had before, and it just and I'm usually a pretty light sleeper. It must have been all the walking and everything that I was doing that really knocked me out, and so that's always something to consider there. I thought I'd take this picture here. We were in the conference center, and one of my friends coworkers was taking a phone call that they had to take. And so I was looking over the edge, and I saw this. I'm like, well, that's kind of interesting. And so I zoomed in on it. So check this out. These are cups and saucers. So that's kind of crazy, right? I guess it's wrapped with some kind of clear wrap. So I don't know what the purpose of that is. I never went down there to see if it was just, some kind of had a meaning or some kind of thing along with it. But anyway, maybe it was just storage. I don't know. I thought that was interesting. We got to go to a Phillies game in the evening after our conference time was over. And so we had a good time there. It's always kind of neat to see other baseball fields. Although I'm not a big baseball or even a sports fan, I just don't have a lot of time to watch sports, but it was kind of cool to go and check this out. We had really neat seats. We were down on the pretty much on the field, and really good seats. But I got to tell you, those chairs. So if you see some of those people, they're those bigger kids are kind of cramped. You can see they're kind of turned, and the seats were really small. And so I preferred more standing here. These were stand up seats, but it was a place where you could stand up, and people would come in and out of here. But you could go and up against this ledge and just kind of hang out there and watch the game. So at this point, the Phillies were at an 8-game losing streak, and so the day that we show up, they won. Maybe with some of that Houston love taking it over there. They beat the Mets. I think they beat the Mets the next game as well. All right, so this is their bell. I guess it's the Liberty Bell. So whenever there's a home run, and it was a pretty high scoring game, 12-6, and so there was a lot of home runs. So this Liberty Bell would light up. So I thought it was kind of cool. All right, so here's the thing that my son really loved is we were in one of the vendor booths and we were talking with them, and they asked us just like, hey, if you'll hold out for just a few minutes, we have an NFL All-Star coming. So this is Dave Robinson of the Green Bay Packers. I think he was in the Hall of Fame 2013, if I'm not mistaken. And so we were like first in line, and they had balls, although the balls were purple and white. And he was like, he was making Vikings, jokes all the time. But he was a really nice guy to just be able to sign that. The footballs for everyone, and just really, it was a good experience. So anyway, I was able to bring that back. He signed it to my son, and so he really enjoyed that one. So that's a good thing that happened there. So in Philly, and I don't know if they have these any other place. I know that they don't have them in Houston. They have this place called Insomnia Cookies, and they stay open till 3 o'clock in the morning, and they will deliver to you. So when you walk in there, of course, we saw this. We were walking to different areas, and we saw these, and we're like, whoa, wait a minute, we might need to go in there. And so the day that we decided to go in there, everybody got, so they sell ice cream and they sell these humongous cookies. So everybody got one of those. I just got just a regular peanut butter cookie. It was really great, but they had this thing here that says, sorry, your day sucked, have a cookie. And so I just thought that was kind of funny to do that. But I think I gained 5 pounds just walking in there and smelling the air. It was so good. And anyway, if you have one of those, or you've ever stopped by one of those, you definitely need to try it out. All right, so moving on here. So we go to Independence Hall. We didn't get to go through all of it because in some of the areas you did have to have a ticket, but we were able to go through Congress, right? And so this is the Senate. The tour, the tour was like 20 minutes, and they really push you really fast. So they give you, a little bit of history and stuff, but it's like, take your pictures fast. Come on, move along. And so I didn't get pictures of the house, right? So it's the chamber below where we are here. This is the second story. And so, they went through all of that. I wish I would have got a picture there, but this is the Senate. So this is up on top. This is where George Washington would have done his, taken his oath of office and all that good stuff up here. And so I just thought, or at least that's what they said, I thought it was kind of cool. The seal here up on the top, it was pretty interesting here. So if you've never heard the idea of, you have the eagle, and then you have the eagle holding like a peace branch here. I can't remember the specific name to that flower that it's holding. And then you have the arrows here. And so we can make war if we have to, but we choose peace when we can. And so that was the meaning. At least that's what the tourist guide was saying. I thought that was kind of cool. So I took a close-up picture there. And then they had little rooms, all on the second floor, and they all, were specific to different things, and they all had different, reasons for being there. This is a picture of one of Louis the 15th's. I'm sorry, I might not be Louis the 15th. Can't remember, the King of France. One of his, not Catherine. I don't know. I'm confusing it there. I went backwards. Anyway, so it's there, and one of the things that the tour guide said was the French really didn't like us too much, but they hated the English more, and so that's why they chose to help us out. So whoever knows, those of you who know your history just a little bit more, I can't remember which queen that was, but anyway, there's a king. There are big old portraits of them still there. And then these are other rooms that were there. Again, specific reasons for these rooms. I didn't have time to sit there and take all the pictures that I wanted. We were, like I said, we were so rushed, but really great. Got to go to the Liberty Bell that was across the way. Of course, you know, when you watch movies and stuff like that, it's never like it is in the movies. But I thought this was great. Everybody was trying to take their pictures with the Liberty Bell, so it was kind of hard to get there. I left out the picture of myself taking my own selfie with the Liberty Bell. But anyway, there it is. And, you know, it's not as big as you would think it would be, but there it is. And then, so I had to take this picture. This is kind of a convenience store that is there in Philly. They sell food and other things, but one of the things that that I always say, I tell my kids or other people that I work with, I always say wah. And so anyway, I started saying wah wah when I was there, and started doing that when we were walking around. So I'm like, I got to take a picture of that. So anyway, I think that's it there. I'm going to go ahead and come back to the video. So here, this is my reason for, or two reasons why I'm sharing this video with you. First is I wanted just to share a little bit of my life and what's going on and those things that happen. I'm not doing that on social media as much because I just don't want to build up Facebook and, you know, Twitter and all that. I still send out things like articles and stuff, but as far as my personal, I'm not even doing any of that anymore. I just don't think it's worth it. And so I do want to have that connection with you. So just wanted to share a little bit of what I was doing this last week. The second thing, and the most important thing, this is the big reason why I wanted to share this with you, is that I never let anybody know that I was in Philadelphia when I was in Philadelphia. You wouldn't find that out on social media. You wouldn't have been able to recognize that. I didn't tell anybody ahead of time. I didn't post pictures on social media or anything like that. That is an operational security or an OPSEC thing that goes on. And so those of you that are still on social media, those of you that share things out, that's one of the things you need to be careful with, because thieves and people that want to do you harm, or people even who might know you because of a friend of a friend of a friend, then, you know, they'll see that, hey, you know, they are on vacation and so their home is wide open, and so they could go and do things to, you know, break in, steal things, whatever. And so that's one reason why I didn't share any of that, why I share it afterwards, right? You wouldn't have known because of the podcast. If you listen to the podcast was done in a way that you wouldn't have realized that I was somewhere else and not, you know, at home releasing it. And so I just wanted to, you know, especially as we're here in summer, and I know that we're right in the middle of summer, but you might still have vacation plans, and it's something to consider. You can always take your pictures, you can always do your videos, all that kind of stuff, and then when you get back, you can share them, create a photo album if you're going to do that on social media, and then share them with your friends, right? And that way you are already home. You can talk about your vacation or your event or whatever it was in the past tense, and that way, you know, you are at home and you're watching it. And so if anybody wanted to do, you know, break into your home, they would drive by and they would realize, wait a minute, that person is home. And so, you know, that was something that happened in the past. So anyway, just an idea there as we're going into, or as we're in the middle of summer and kind of pushing through, just one of those things, a little bit of advice to think about. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Thanks so much for watching. God bless.